you've had it quite tough, always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy, look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand, you've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel, only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger.
Hello, everyone. I am Rook, and I am joined by Zombie Bacon as we are bringing you DPL Season 2, Week 4. And we've got this matchup between Flogel and BTG to kick us off tonight.
Absolutely. Great to be here and great to be back. And this is going to be a fun game to watch today. This will really be, we're bringing in week 5 here with of DPL. And these are two teams that are going to be exciting to watch. Both very aggressive. And that is what's going to make this fun.
Yeah, I'm always excited to cast Flogel. That's who I caught last time, and it was absolute blast to watch them get up in their opponent's grill. A very aggressive European team, but towards the bottom of the standings. They've got lots of draws and played a lot of game time, but not able to really stand up to some of these strong teams. And BTG, as you said, one of those other aggressive teams, able to really bring it to their opponents. Now, Flogel, they're going to hit right back. How do you think that matchup is going to play out?
Oh, that's going to be hard because I want to point out, I believe Flogel is really at the bottom of the standings right now because if you look at where the teams are falling, they have played all of the top teams right now. Week 1, they played Mazer. Week 2, they played Slaughterhouse. Week 3, they played Fierce. Last week, they played SPG, and now they're going up against BTG. This will be a hard matchup for them because BTG wins so many of their attacker rounds. Over half of their attacker rounds, they come out with a win. So if Flogel's able to bring out the defense rounds here, they could, I believe realistically, they can beat out BTG, but it's going to be a long game if we're going on Flogel's track record at all.
Yeah, I think the other really interesting part of that is obviously BTG, for the most part, don't have that strongest defense. And Flogel, I mean, as he said, up and at 'em, might be able to find their way on in there. But obviously, we've got some other matches tonight to quickly kind of note on. What is the other matchup that we have coming?
So the other matchup we have coming, I'll be staying on for that. We're going to have Team Momentum versus SPG as our next match. We're getting both of our European teams in today. Get them knocked out. It'll be great. And then also after that, we're going to have a rivals game tonight. So be sure to stick around for that.
Indeed it is. But next week, unfortunately, we don't have any DPL. It's been cancelled for the week. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Because we've got something else ready for people, don't we?
Oh, I wouldn't use unfortunate though. I mean, it's big news. DPL's being pushed back a week, but it's for the Due Process Open with DreamHack. So, I mean, it's great. We're going to have this huge tournament. We have tons of teams right now. We're expecting about 50, I believe. It's from what I've heard, and I cannot wait to see what happens there.
I mean, especially because I assume it will be on European servers. Just saying, and it might give the European teams a little bit more of a chance in that situation. I think Flogel are very much squared up to look pretty strong, at least in that situation when they're maybe playing in a more level playing field. But yeah, that is unfortunately, sorry, not unfortunately, that is next week, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Even if I don't get to cast it, I'm definitely going to try and tune it in for some of that. But as you said, right now, Flogel versus BTG, a clash of these two aggressive teams, and I mean, we've also got a whole bunch of new maps, don't we?
Yes. So we have, I believe, almost 50 new maps. I know the latest update that came out last night had 23 of them. But then also earlier in the week, we got a little slight update when they pulled back the holiday patch and rolled us out some new maps, pardon me, on Tuesday, I believe. So rough guess, looking at around 50 new maps. We're gonna see some old ones put in rotation again now that the holiday update is gone. You're gonna see some classics that we love, like with Factory, and I've personally, when I've played, have come across a lot of classic kill houses. But there's some exciting things to watch out for in the maps. A lot of real experimental stuff. I've been loving the new maps. and I believe the dev team and the map makers are getting so creative with it right now.
Yeah, it's always nice to see creative play maps because it also stimulates that creative play and kind of to come full circle back to Flugel. That was something you felt was really strong for them, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Team Flogo, I think, is one of the most creative teams right now. And almost in a way, I think that is why their games go so long, because they're so creative. It's not necessarily the meta they're playing around, but it can win big for them. However, sometimes it doesn't work out. So I think that's why they're going to a lot of these ties, pulling these games out, because they're doing the unexpected, but also because it's unexpected, they're not always sure on how to execute on it fully, and it allows the defenders to maybe crush on it and crush them in and pinch
Mhm.
them in a more meta environment, in a more expected way that is probably a little more rehearsed, if you will.
Yeah, sometimes Flugel can be their worst and own worst enemy, but I mean, I think with this aggression, it's going to kind of be a different story. And I think when you're coming to these very aggressive, very frag heavy squads, sometimes having those opening frags is going to be the really important thing. This is why, I mean, other than being a biased EU caster, I do actually have Flogel down for it because, well, Flogel himself of Flogel fame is actually top of the league with those first bloods with 18 to their name. A very impressive performance and constantly finding ways in for their squad. And I think that could make a real difference here.
Absolutely. I think, BTG has been very, very strong, but Flogel's in a great position to knock them off their feet, really sweep them under the rug,
Mhm.
hopefully, and really propel Flogel up the standings. And that, I believe that's what they're looking for here.
Yeah, and Flogel kind of at the bottom of the standing, sure. But as we kind of mentioned, a lot of draws for this squad, which puts them in this position where, because they don't really have any wins, it's very difficult for them to punch above their weight. And they are kind of a sleeper pick, I think. A very strong team that has gone a little underestimated. And I'm really looking forward to see them take on BTG here for that very reason. I think this is their time to shine. I think BTG, while a strong and aggressive team that on their own, do have openings, especially in that defense. While we kind of talked about their offense and how much they're winning their 57% win rate, you look over to their defense and they're kind of at this point where they're like 42% win rate on that defense. So you kind of got that flip side of things. I think it's definitely a place that Flocal could get a lot of success. But of course, they have to be strong on their own defenses, which sometimes they can be a little bit shaky on.
Absolutely, particularly against BTG's over 50% win rate on those attacker rounds. I believe it's something insane like 57%. But with that, I would like to point out though some of the KDs on these players that I'm going to be watching out throughout this game. I know I see Kuko is going to be playing for Flogels today, and one thing with these long games, they're going to 12 rounds, they're getting these insane kill numbers. Kuko currently has 75 kills and 62 deaths. So maintaining a positive KD despite playing, I believe it's like 93 rounds of the game on DPL alone is insane to me.
Yeah, it's genuinely these guys just going at it time and time again. I think sometimes though you have to look at this local squad and go, well, they're playing all these games and well, they're flying so high, getting so close to taking down these strong squads, but they're giving a lot of info away to their opponents. If any info, if any research is going in, just kind of how they play, there's so much content out there to be able to counter-strat these guys, and maybe they'll fly too close to the sun and find themselves burned in that regard. Because a lot of teams should be able to really get their number, know what they're about, and it's not like Flogel are exactly hiding what they plan to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go at you. They'll adapt on the fly, as you said, very creative team, and continually trying to frag you, especially with, I think, Flogel himself. I think there was a round where I think it was C-Store, we just rushed straight on through all the way into the back of site with an SMG. I can't remember exactly which one when they were on the attack, and just completely just burst on through and completely won the round for their team. But it was a very Hail Mary play, and sometimes you do see that from this local squad. And again, it can be a slightly coin flippy nature, which is maybe why they've got this 50-50 win rate against a lot of different teams.
Absolutely. And also, I'm expecting a BTG win here personally, just looking at the stats, looking at how the teams play. That's what I'm expecting. However, these map updates really strong for Flogel. We have to keep that in mind. 23 new maps on Friday. So these teams are playing today, most likely haven't seen all of these maps, And that's where we're going to see a lot of this real planning on the fly, which is what I think a lot of us love about due process. The procedurally generated maps, they're new. You can't learn each little peak angle on every map unless you're playing a ton. And because these maps came out on Friday and Friday afternoon at that, these teams now coming into Saturday having to play a DPL game, very intimidating. And I think personally gives Flogel that extra sharp edge in terms of the possibility of taking at least one game from BTG here. I'm hoping for two. I'm rooting for the underdog, even though I don't know if it'll happen. I want it to. I want it to so badly. I want Flogel to prove themselves. They're a great team despite their standings, and they can pull out a win here. And that's what's going to be exciting about watching this. I'm expecting both games to go to 12 rounds.
You and me both. I'm really excited for. Well, it's Team Flogel has to be a long game, right? And I do think they are very much the underdogs. I think BTG. If you asked me to make a very statistical, very sensible prediction, definitely the ones who should be coming out on top here. But my heart definitely streams Flogel. These guys have shown a lot of gumption for the way they just kind of push on through and play so aggressively. And definitely, I think that's a great way to kind of approach a game, especially if you are that underdog kind of team in the situation. So definitely not backing down from any fights here, even though BTG are second, I believe, in the league.
Absolutely. And part of that too is this past week I have been playing with a lot of the guys on the Flogels roster, just mashing out casual games, and I am so excited for this. I have a slight idea of what they have planned. We were talking about it, and they know I'm out here rooting for them, and I think a lot of people are too. BTG, I believe, currently third in the standings. This is their time to upset, and Flogel has it. I think all of us need to listen to our hearts. How many children's movies did we watch that told us to do that? I think it's time that I finally learned something from Disney, and I hope it happens, and I hope it comes true, and my parents weren't right, and that math mattered a lot more than I thought it did.
I mean, again, to kind of bring that distinction between the two squads, when we're talking about how strategy heavy they are, I want to kind of look at that wasted utility. Again, my stats are a little bit out. I haven't got quite the right sheet up. I'll be completely honest with you, people at home. But an example being is Flogels on average waste 129 utility in a set. Overall, that's what they've done. If you look at BTG, they've wasted 67. It's not quite half, but it's done well close. And that just shows that BTG are so happy to play around their utility and play very strat heavy and play around the squad. Whereas Flogels, they often just look for that big frag.
Absolutely. And I think something important to note about the utility wasted is I believe it's calculated on if you flash possibly an empty room, but also if you die with the utility on you, just completely done. So what's interesting about that is I believe sometimes even if you die on it, your team can still use that utility. I'm not sure how the Stat Master Donut counts it. I am not that inclined to know, but I want to make that distinction is yes, BTG executes a bit more, but I also think that's because and keeping that utility, I think that's also because they are coming out of their rounds on top more than Flogel, and they're not, more importantly, they have not played as many rounds as Flogel as part of that number two. So I wonder if both teams had the same round count, how that number would look different.
Yeah, and Flogel are very much a squad that have their round, all of their stats inflated for good and for bad. So they got more frags, sure, but they also have as many deaths. They have they've lost more rounds, but they've also won more rounds, obviously, because they just have played so darn many. That's why it's always really hard to grasp for the most part. Whereas BTG have been a little bit cleaner on that, obviously, and I think BTG are looking to try and make this short. If you're playing the long game, I know it's only 2 games, but it really does kind of, especially when you're hyper focusing on a lot of these situations. And I think these guys are definitely going to have to focus a lot because they're going to constantly be fighting and dueling and kind of trying to get into each other's heads. It does wear on you quite a lot. And I think BTG not necessarily as well prepared for that as maybe Team Flogel are.
Absolutely. And also with that stat number you mentioned, I want to go quickly into 2 players I believe will be playing for BTG today. Clever Clover is currently sitting with a very nice KD. 55 and 53. And Godspeed also with a KD of 56, 52. Huge frags for BTG. But again, I think the stats can be misleading sometimes, like we were talking about. You put that up against Kuko's 75, 62 and Taiga's 75, 67. It's like, obviously, they're better players. They frag more, they die less, but also 12-round games, 93 rounds in game. It's ridiculous. Also, going in with the EU thing, I know Momentum's playing later today, so this is really EU's day to shine. And if Flogel pops it out here with a huge win against BTG, a huge upset, I'm excited to see what's going to happen later on. I think that really sets the stage for Momentum later on to give them that little EU region faith that they're going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, as well, the other kind of thing from this is with these new maps, it might be more favored, I feel, towards Flogel because they are a little bit more quick to adapt. So I think that's definitely something really interesting. Are there any kind of like different kinds of maps that maybe you want to see? You were talking to me earlier about a couple of different interesting map types that we mentioned, kind of with I believe, a very open arcade.
Absolutely. My favorite thing ever, everyone knows, I talk about on stream all the time whenever I get C-Store and there's a Dance Dance Revolution machine that I see. This particular arcade had 6 or 7, and I lost my mind when I saw it. I played it. I didn't get any kills because I was too busy playing Dance Dance Revolution, and it's not because I'm bad. Obviously not. Absolutely not that. But it's one of those maps that I just want to see. They're getting so creative. A few of the factory maps, there was one where a wall charge had actually already been blown on the map, and there's debris everywhere. And this is the one pack of maps that I have, every new one I see, I look at and I go, oh my God, this is amazing. I have not seen this before. This is great.
So I've loaded in. We're having trying to get some issues sorted right now. We're having some technical issues. I can tell you that there are currently 7 Dance Dance Revolution machines in this arcade. Your prayers might have been answered, at least in part.
I hope so, and I think it's a good omen for Flogel. My prayers have been answered. The jank gods have answered my prayers as we have some technical difficulties loading in here, but at least we're guaranteed to be able to see it, and I cannot wait for it. I will lose my mind when we get this on stream for you guys. I don't want to blow my reaction quite yet.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But I mean, no, I think I'm the only person in here right now who can see that. I don't think you've logged it, you've reloaded in either. But we've got a really open storefront, apart from a little bit of shelving to kind of cover that, and a teller looking onto it. The freezer has a really interesting defensive position, actually. So there's a couple of really strange ways this is set up, and the bomb is sitting over in bathroom, more in between in between office and storage. I'm trying to describe it to you very quickly because the round's actually starting, and we're seeing the attacking side, BTG, come on in. They're going to play a little bit from above, and I'm trying to look at what util they have. They are going to be opening the door into storage, which is, I think, probably the quickest way towards this bomb. Going to be moving on in. You can see no, you can't see. I keep on saying that. You can't see, but Ghetto is actually waiting towards the exit from storage into the bomb room, and is trying to make sure that no one kind of pushes on in there. Coco looking towards that storefront as the execute is starting to come on in right now. They've dropped on through. They're starting to push on in. That storage is a little bit open as the flashes go on in, and they already take down Kuko in Teller. So that is completely giving over control of that. But luckily for the defending side, for Flogel, that isn't all too important on the way you're going to be holding here. And a good usage here of a molly, and also the barbed wire means that storage can't currently get on into the site. So they still have to wait a bit of time. There's a minute and about 5 seconds left on the clock, and you can see that right now Flogel more spreading out towards the back, expecting that flank to come on in, especially with Billboard putting a little bit of that pressure on with the shotgun, looking to push in, and Tiger Man is holding that angle kind of close with Allegros, but starting to push on back as we see that all of the utility is starting to not even matter as the push comes on in from the Ghetto comes up big and finds a 2K there. This means that the execute might be oh so hard. Bomb down in bathroom, and this means that they're going to have to probably contest it. A good smoke coming on in here from BTG. Flogel push on in. Ghetto gets the first frag. Godspeed, one of the last remaining members. Billboard is trying to push on back through Hella. The smoke is cleared up. Tiger Man is waiting behind. Boss Jr. is still waiting for that flank, but it's just not coming. Tries to regroup, but there it comes. Big plays coming out from the Flogel side. Tiger Man able to hold it down, and that's a win for Flogel to start things off.
Absolutely, and I want to point out there, that was a single shotgun shot that took out 2 members of BTG from Ghetto. Ghetto doing a huge amount of work for his team there, killing 3 people, and honestly, a very shaky opening for Flogel. Very strong entry from BTG, but Flogel's able to come back and punish that so hard, getting not only showcasing the skill, but also the power of the shotguns. I know a lot of people tend to talk about how weak shotguns are right now, but that proves them wrong. That was a 3K from Ghetto with 1.
Yeah, absolutely massive, honestly. Stopping them just as they push on in, really denying a lot of that push through barbed wire, and no HE coming in to really clear it. I think that's a big mistake from BTG there. They needed to be able to clear that, and they just didn't have anything ready.
Absolutely, and also now we're on to our next map, which is a kill house map that unfortunately I do not believe you guys can see yet, but my best way to describe this right now is it kind of looks like a very pixelated P90, if you will. Very foxy at one end, and then into this sort of barrel thing and a scope on top. However, what really sends this now is what I've seen on a lot of the newer kill house maps is a center courtyard. An insane amount of windows. 6 windows in the center courtyard with a green door access to it. So that can be, not only that, in my experience, has been very dangerous for defenders. Attackers love to push in there, and in a few of these maps, we actually get the courtyard becomes a whole pass through for the attackers. But Flogels now played very conservatively on that last map, very conservatively utility-wise. They took quite a few mollies, but I believe I only saw 2 barbs out there. So now on this kill house, we see them marking out 4 separate barbs, and more importantly, attempting to deny some entry to that courtyard with 1. And also, what barbs are great for is, more importantly, sound. Listening to the enemy, and that's what a lot of these I see are placed for. Much more about hearing where they're going, hearing that push in the courtyard, hearing that push through lockers. Much more important here on Kill House as well. BTG, I believe, as they hop out of the truck, going to go for a green door entry on these huge reception doors, as we see. So, as they get into the start of the round.
Sounds like a good decision. It's a nice way to pick on up, and there's not a huge amount of cover as well from that courtyard. I think that's something to kind of note, is it is going to be really deadly if they can get some good line of sights onto there. But yeah, pushing on to reception and already making their way around. Not sure if they want to push into club again. Very little cover there, and Cuckoo already putting that pressure on from lockers. And well, you can see that Frosty is still unsure as to whether they want to push. Both teams kind of trading back and forth some of that wall banging.
Absolutely, and I want to point out one thing really quick while they're just trading shots. Flogel holding onto his barb as reactive. That's been one thing we've seen more and more with these teams. Holding onto one rather than just placing it and let it be wasted with no one being able to really execute on it. And reacting to BTG's plan.
Yeah, and they don't need to use that now. You can see that Flogel still has it in hand, hasn't committed to it to our office. So this is a really good call. Playing very up and aggressive. Surprised to see that. But right now, Club is that real problem. That's a fantastic molly. And Billboard is trying to chase Kuko, but Flogel backs him on up and even gets that 2K really well played. And even when Godspeed tries to contest test here, both Sox and Godspeed cannot make it into Club. And now Ned is that last player remaining. And it's all over but the writing. This is a fantastic round from Flogel here.
Absolutely, a clean sweep so far.
Yeah, they really have started to show up, and we were talking about how much we wanted them to show up and prove that they were a strong team. And against one of these top squads in the league, they're still managing to perform. Good shot coming through from Ned, but Well, flash that obviously won't hurt Ned too much, just trying to keep them back, maybe harass them a little bit, but
Scare 'em a
Tigerman
little
still
bit.
trying to hold that. The flash goes on in, and
Ooh.
that should be easy to clean up. It's 1 versus 3 now, but Ned has to push through so much with that barbed wire in the way in only 15 seconds. Really doesn't have a lot to work with. There's the molly. Ned needs to push through it, just doesn't have the time and
Ooh.
can't even get that. Ghetto closes it out. And 3 players still alive. Flogel, they're absolutely rolling in it. They didn't have to invest that barbed wire that you were talking about.
Absolutely, that's a great call from them. The reactive barb is something we're seeing more and more, because not only that, but if we notice where they were going to place it in office, if he would have placed it right out, it probably would have been destroyed by that red door. And instead, saving it so after the door is blown, then you can still use it in that great place. This is the Flogel creativity we're talking about. This is something I did not see until after we came back from our winter break, and even I didn't even really see it last week either. This is a new thing. We're seeing these teams getting a little more settled in the competitive style of play now, coming up with these new creative strategies, which is again a Flogel staple. And now we've had 2 new maps, and now we're back to a fairly staple and neighborhood friendly factory map. Dark Razor, great name. And this BTG's looking to cause a ruckus here. We're getting marked out on the map, a wall charge through storage and a possible door charge in office. Remember, didn't use a charge last round. They did save it. And also, this is going to be dangerous for Flogels. They've been defending admirably, particularly against such an attack strong team like BTG. This is astonishing so far, but this is really going to be dangerous for them. BTG coming out with the very complex plans, calling a smoke over here in the top right corner, as well as to cover that push into storage for that wall charge straight on the bomb. Flogel's calling it though. I think they're reading them here. That will be scary. Calling for a classic due process 3-2 split. Take control of that office. Will hopefully be able to capitalize on Flogel looking at that wall charge.
Yeah, I think that office is obviously going to be very important, can easily overlook the bomb, provide some sort of overwatch, and, well, change how they're approaching things. Are they bringing in that? I think that wall charge is going to be really interesting as well, because it means you kind of got those 2 points of contact. A lot to work with here, but BTG so far look kind of lackluster on some of these executes. I need to see them kind of, well, actually perform on it and find some of those frags. I think that's where it's going to be particularly important. And they're up against some pretty long-range weaponry from the defending side of Flogel.
Absolutely. Changing it up though, splitting the team up, holding off on that office push, playing it very slow here from BTG, kind of uncharacteristically so.
I think they're scared. They know that Flogel could be waiting in the wings and is, well, doing exactly that. No shotguns this time to try and play up in that office, but I like that they're not committing. They're waiting for the rest of their team to be in position and ready to go. A really good call, I do feel. Good flash coming on in. They're going to be able to clear out most of storage, but Kuko is obviously going to be waiting right here and could easily find a frag. Whiffs the shot. That's an important shot to not be able to hit. Flogel trades some damage back and forth and even takes down Ned. Frosty under a lot of pressure right now, and Flogel is even going to rush him with the push coming on in. That should be relatively easy. That's completely shutting down the office push, and now, well, Flogel can just sit and wait in that position. I believe the wall charge goes down, and they're going to be able to execute on through. If they don't deal with Flogel and Tigerman, however, that might be easier said than done. A flash going on in, but still not able to push on through. The sprays coming in full force right now. So low for some of these members of BTG. They have to be careful. Billboard manages to get one, gets the big flank, and takes down 2 important members here, Flogel and Tigerman. That hold from office is completely cut off. You could see Kuko starting to move into position, knowing that if they don't deal with this, this could be really problematic for the squad. And complete control of the east side of the map. Sox and Billboard start to creep on up, giving Godspeed the opportunity to move on through here. As you can see, Boss Jr. and Kuko and Ghetto all playing on this position over Toxic, trying to spray down, trying to deny it. But Diffuse going through. They need to get up close and personal. Billboard is just playing behind it. Kuko gets the shot. All importantly then, Billboard is down. Sox trying to play that same angle, but knows that if they're not careful, Kuko will take him down as well. Does exactly that. And Godspeed has to be super worried about this, but at least manages to deal with Kuko with the flash going forward. Now maybe they can stick on towards this. There's not a lot of time left. 69 6 seconds. Gonna go on it, trying to hold it, but there it is. Good play from Flogel and a clean sweep on this defense.
Yeah, honestly, Flogel doing work, taking a lot of these defense rounds from an attack strong team. But I do want to give props to BTG though, reacting so well, keeping their cool after 2 of their teammates die in office, but Flogel's just denying them everything, giving no
Billboard.
quarter. Billboard doing work, and even though Kuko whiffed that mop shot, it was still so strong. Also, props to Flogel shutting down that office push that really would have denied Flogel all of their energy there, keeping 3 members up in that toxic area, which is really, I think that was the definitive moment, in my opinion, of that round. And now, here we are. I am so happy we finally get to see my arcade. I love this. I mean, everyone knows this is all I talk about. There's one pinball machine in the corner for the loser who doesn't want to play Dance Dance Revolution, but I was right. That's 7 Dance Dance Revolutions machines, and that is enough for these Argus Police Force and Crims to solve their differences through dance. They can dance it out, save the rec center at the same time, and I just love that because it goes so sweetly in with the sort of 80s vibes of the entire game of Due Process. This, I love this map. I cannot say enough great things about this map. Honestly, it's amazing.
It is amazing, but how do you feel about it more tactically? We've not got a huge amount of time because obviously we're talking about the power of dance.
Tactically, who cares about tactically? There's a Dance Dance Revolution machine. But I think Flogel here getting very creative. I believe that's an early wall charge that they have marked out. Going through bathroom, wanting to pinch it from both sides, probably holding off on that. This Flogel's, talk about creativity. New map, recognizing this push immediately. This will be very dangerous for BTG. Holding that northern side office will be a great hold for them, but also that wall charge will allow Flogels to hold that as a long angle to deny that entry on the bomb to prevent their defuse if they execute it correctly.
Well, it looks like they're going to also try and drop in through storefront and, well, obviously create some sort of problem there. Some flashes and smokes going in to try and cover their entry. And they're just going to go on down, investing a decent amount. And Ghetto is going to get right on up into that teller. And shot going to open. It looks like they're just going to go straight for this opportunity. They're going to, Flogel's going to get right up on that angle, ready for it. Actually, no, okay, sorry, he's above. He's getting ready to bring in that wall charge, which is obviously going to go into that position. They're just making sure they've secured it. If they lose that player, not exactly how they want to start things. You can see Billboard and Sox both trying to play this angle, very aware that storage is going to be a key part of that. But what they don't know is this wall charge is coming on in. They've drawn some line on it. They're slightly aware, and there comes the push. A classic Flogel shenanigan as they just rush on in. 2 players down right away. Make that 3 as another falls. 4 is the count, and Billboard is down for a full sweet 5. That's a classic Flogel-style strategy as they just go right on in and whack them down. 5 players dead in a matter of seconds, and really creative usage, as you were saying.
Honestly, and that, I think that just shows how strong the advantage of knowing all the maps are. They don't have to worry about getting a wall charge map in the next 2. They decided before they even moved on from defending this map, I know where I want my wall charge. But also the execution was amazing. We did see a defensive barb come out too late from BTG on the bomb that I just circled, and I think that probably played a role in them getting gunned down. 3 of them there almost immediately because they didn't have their guns up for that push. They were flashed, just defenseless from Flogel's amazingly strong push through that wall. Honestly, that's just stunning. That's a clean sweep from Flogels there. And they flirted with it a few times on defense, and now on attack, they show their power. They show their dominance right now. This is exciting. This is the game we wanted to see. And now I do want to point out real quick, this is the P90 map I was talking about before. I don't know if you guys could see it. You get your stock over here. I'm going to outline it horribly. And then also you kind of have, I guess, a sight up here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you get your barrel, all that kind of stuff.
The
I
bullpup
went to art
configuration
school.
with the ammo down here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, very nice. I went to art school. You know, it works. But this map, I'm excited to see Flogel play attack on. Kill houses normally, when we see a reception like this, we're used to seeing attackers go reception. It's an easy take. It's generally free. Defenders don't normally play out here, but Flogel able to punish BTG's attack, and now BTG, I want to point out, placing similar barbs to Flogel. I wonder if that office one is going to be reactive again, and also looks like a possible wasted utility here being marked out from Flogel with that nade in the courtyard, expecting their barb there, but it's not there. It's not there right now. I wonder what's going to happen, but they're looking to use that courtyard area and really show how powerful these windows can be if you don't choose to punish them as a defender. This will be scary for BTG here. This is their round to win. We do see auto shotty coming out from them.
Mm.
That could be their last stand here, keeping that in office as Flogel heads towards club to make that south door entry.
Yeah, I think a good take. And to kind of quickly note on BTG not placing this utility responsively, I think a really good call, because Flogel do not give you the time to place utility responsively. They go for it, they execute. If that execute was coming into office and they were placing it responsively, it's already too late. Sox obviously could come up big in office, but it just wouldn't be enough, I feel, unless obviously they found a multitude of frags. And at that point, then you don't need that barbed wire. So nice execute coming, nice placement coming on in there. Molly to try and deny, gets caught by a lot of it. Billboard comes up big here. Some nice defense as well. Finally, we see some good play coming on through from BTG. They close that out, and it's just Kuko left, trying to hold with a very long range. Does actually manage to gun down Godspeed, but it is 1 versus 4, and really might have to rethink their approach to this round.
Absolutely. You know, the defender weapons, I think, were too heavily tied to their previous owners that Flogel decided to take there. Having an Ingmar, an AK, and a Knack, not finding any kills with them, unfortunately, except for Kuko with the Ingmar.
So Kuko pushes on in, gets that frag onto Billboard. Now at long range, he manages to neutralize Ned. Frosty looking to push on through, but obviously that barbed wire works both ways. Kuko not expecting the push, and Frosty peeks at the perfect timing. It's now a 1 versus 1, and very little sits between Kuko and the rest of this map. Sox is waiting in the corner with that auto shotty, but if Kuko can catch him off guard with that leg ross, that should be easy picking. Sox is even kind of worried about where this push is coming, changing up what weapon. Kuko knows they have a decent amount of time to play with. 25 seconds. The push needs to come on in. There comes the flash. Sox is not ready for it. There's the spray. Oh, Sox clutches it out. It looked like it could have been there, but unfortunately, Kuko, the big fragger for this squad, as you kind of mentioned at the start, just about couldn't make it happen. And it was dicey, but BTG do pick up that first round.
Absolutely. My heart aches there for Kuko. I mean, 4 kills. Insane. That was almost our first 1v5 clutch here in DPL. I mean, oh my god, that was amazing from Kuko, but auto shotty too powerful and just shut him down. Sox ingeniously turning away from the flash and crouching to sort of get rid of that aim punch and flat and white screen you normally get, pardon me, and then just blasting him away. 2 shots. Also, I want to point out, got rid of the auto shot. He knew factory was coming up, dumped the auto shot. He grabbed the KR, I believe, and now BTG looking to capitalize on this, change the tempo after Flogel's clean sweep. Flogel's going for a different approach than BTG now, looking for the toxic push, possibly a power play. I do want to point out something, though, on this, up on the toxic portion of this map now. Something we're seeing more and more common with the map tiles lately is in toxic are these collapsed walkways, which are great, and I have failed at jumping across them more times than I would like to admit, honestly. But it adds a little flavor. It's a nice little kind of cherry on top of an OSHA violation, unsafe work environment. But
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, toxic as a whole probably just counts as all the violations, but also the guns, those could potentially be important, and all the explosives. I don't think they have a permit. Well, I think that the attackers probably have a permit for that, but obviously defenders probably a little less so.
yeah,
I'm surprised to not see an offers push here. That feels like the kind of thing that normally you'd see come out in spades from Flogel. And instead, they're not even remotely going for it. They're going for the toxic and maybe through the fan push.
I understand why that'd be expected, but I also wonder if because of how easily they shut it down last time, they're scared of that. BTG keeping one person in office, that could ruin the whole thing, particularly Sox with that KR and a grenade and clacker that he picked up from Flogel's last round. That's scary. Also, going towards fan with their charge prevents them from possibly getting clacked and betrayed by their own piece of utility now.
Yeah, it's a safe choice. It's a good safe choice. But also, Billboard is watching it.
Billboard on there with the mop, lots of power weapons. This will be exciting.
Yeah, and we saw this from Flogel as well. This is the map to bring out power weapons in this pool. Sorry, in this 3-set pool. 2 barbed wires going towards the top there. Interesting investment. And Molly invested early here by Ned, not wanting to mess around and let Boss and Tiger Man get away with this. Moss pushes on through. A very aggressive angle. That's what she managed to deal with Ned. And there comes the push. Flogel push on ASAP. They always try to go for these high impact, very quick plays and already take down Sox. Kuko does get traded back out. Godspeed is absolutely on the spot. But Flogel and Boss Jr. are looking to pick this out and contest again. But with those longer range weapons, Boss is making a mistake. Ghetto plays from behind. I don't know if they activated the lights yet. We'll be able to actually obviously change that map, but it doesn't look like they did. Those lights are still on. Godspeed with a good frag manages to take down Flogel here. And now it's just Tiger Man and Ghetto playing for the final one. But considering he overextends, Tiger Man's able to pick that up. Billboard is playing in the corner here, easily taken down. And that is now a 5-1 lead for Flogel, making a statement here today.
Absolutely. Tiger going with the classic due process, molly yourself. But Ghetto really saving his team there with that push through toxic. Also avoiding that very nice jump I talked about, not wanting to risk it going all the way around by power, not grabbing it. But I think that was just very unfortunate for BTG. Throwing an aid, going off under shelving near fan, but not quite deep enough because of how the bloom works for the fragmentation. It just caught probably more than half of that frag bloom and really avoided any of the damage going on to Kuko there with the Saber. But that was close. It went from a 3v2 to a 1v2 in favor of Flogel in a matter of seconds. These are fast games right now, and that's what we expected from Flogel. The coordination, the creativity of that fan push, amazing.
Yeah, they well, sure, they have a lot of games, but a lot of them are very short. They do like to play very dynamically, and once it's go time, I mean, it absolutely is just that, go time. And you see every single round pretty much we've seen from Flogel on the attack, they rush on in. As a 5, as a 4, as whoever, they'll push as deep as they possibly can to gain a lot of control. If they die, you know what? Say Levy. That's how it happens. We'll deal with that situation when it comes to it. And that's absolutely what they did there. I actually think they overextended a little bit there. For example, Kuko getting caught out towards the later part of that round. But with the flank coming on in from Ghetto, they're able to rectify it and put a lot of work on in. So really well played from them as they just constantly are able to put the pressure on, ask the question, are you ready for this duel? Will you win it? Are you ready for the flank as well? Because that's coming in just a second, and it absolutely is like that for Flogel, a game of seconds.
Absolutely, and 100% BTG's answer so far has been no, we are not ready for this. We cannot handle this right now. Flogel using their aggression to their advantage. Looking as a very standard storefront push, wall charge in through the front. I do kind of love the small smiley face. They flirted with drawing. They have the 2 smokes and freezer to prevent that, and they haven't quite given me the mouth, so I'll finish it for them. But this will be aggressive, going for that teller, opening storefront all the way up. and this will be scary for BTG. This is not a place they want to be in. Also, possibly that teller push, depending on how fast it happens. BTG playing around that power with Ned, looking to deny that. So this is scary for them. Lots of close range weapons. Billboard with the shotgun, able to do work here, I hope, if that flash at Fridges does not connect properly as Flogel slow walks to storefront.
They gotta be sneaky. Sometimes they play it slow, but only the calm before the storm. They're getting ready to just move on into storefront. I think this is actually a pretty good call here. It's very open, a lot to kind of work with. And, well, unless Socks really puts a stop to them, I think this should be a relatively simple execute. So they're just going to push on in, straight on towards the back. 2 smokes, and I love their usage of smokes to cut off the majority of this map. Kuko watching the angle, Billboard pushes on through, and Socks even stops Flogel in their tracks. Frosty even backing up, so the refrag of Tiger Man doesn't even net them a kill. Ghetto does get that frag onto Godspeed, but it's all about Boss Jr. nearly taking down Ned, but nearly isn't enough, and Ned manages to frag them back. Frosty dealing with Kuko, who's at the front here, but with Ghetto pushing on in, this is now a 2 versus 2. Ned manages to bring it down to that 1 versus 1 with the pressure going on and so many different angles being able to be played by Ghetto. It should be relatively easy for them. It's now a 1v1. Doesn't have night vision, I assume, for Ghetto here. Didn't seem like a map where you kind of bring it. So the office play might not be the one, and is instead looking to push through Freezer and maybe just bait on the bomb. I actually think this is a really good call right now, and Ghetto is instantly getting ready for this situation. Ned not committing towards it, knowing that likely they're getting baited. When you played enough of this game, you absolutely know it's coming. Ghetto, very worried about the situation, though, has to be kind of scared. Backing off, taking behind it. Ned trying to push on through, playing from many different angles. Ghetto gets the flank. There it is, and finally, Flogel put that round on the board. They are on match point, and we were saying we'd love to see 12 rounds. That's what we're expecting from Flogel. They always play these long games, and unless we see something shape up from BTG quickly, that ain't going to be the case at all. This might just be a whitewash.
Absolutely, and I am excited to see it. I want to see Flogel 7-1 BTG. I want it, and I want it so badly. And that looks like that feels like what our first game is going to be here. Now, game 2 will be different, but BTG still has a chance. But they can make no mistakes. They have to 5 rounds in a row reverse sweep Flogel here, which is daunting, very scary, incredibly scary. And I wouldn't say impossible, but very hard. It's just not gonna. Normally, is not how it works out. Now, Shield Falcon here is our Kill House map, and this is a classic map. This has been here for so long. Kitchen, parking garage, checkpoint. Normally, what we see teams do here is straight up in the hallway, wall charge into sight somewhere. I'm not expecting that from Flogel. That does not seem to be their MO today. They are too creative for that. They are too creative for what everyone else does. They will make their own plan. But what I'm expecting from a hold here is normally what we see is generally just a full-on kitchen, possibly office hold. So generally in backstage, we do see 2 barbs going out. Backstage brick house, very powerful, particularly for these wall bangs from club stage. Kitchen, again, a double barb being marked out there. BTG wanting to win this and sparing no expense. As we see Flogel going for a green execute, very long green execute, wanting to go through parking garage, not risking taking any shots from possibly from checkpoint. Although drawing out a wall charge onto club here, looking to kill anyone hiding behind those sandbags from the kitchen people who are going to be wall banging onto site. BTG not ready for this kind of dynamic play from Flogel. They haven't been this game, and I'm not expecting it for this round. The only way they're going to be able to capitalize on this is shutting them down very, very fast. Ned bringing auto shotty with both magazines. Very rare to see, but I love it here. BTG wanting to win this and sparing no expense.
Realistically, if they lose this, they lose anyway, so why not bring all of it? There's not much to really be said about that one. Flogel and the gang, they've already burst into kitchen, as you were kind of mentioning earlier, and already trying to get some of those wall bangs down. Flash is coming on in, and Tiger Man has already slipped on through. Boss Jr. goes down, and that's 2 losses already for Flogel. They managed to trade at least one back and take out that all-important auto-shotty player. Flogel is even going to run through all these different angles. You can hear the shots ring through as they flank around the map. Kuko comes up big as usual, and now it's only 3 players on the board. And with Flogel making that flank happen, Sox is not going to be expecting this. Now Flogel is there. They're going to be able to get the shot. Flogel takes him down, and now they're wide open.
Oh my
Frosty
gosh.
falls, and that is it. Flogel pick up the map 7-1, a dominating performance from them. And we were talking about, we wanted to see Flogel win it out in such a fashion, but I didn't expect it to be quite such a blowout.
No, that was 7-1 clean sweep from Flogel, even with the TK from Kuko there on the boss. But Flogel, the player, not the team, getting the flank of the century there, killing Sox and Frosty at the end, securing that win for Team Flogel. So I mean, I am astonished, but I will not say that I am not happy. That is what I wanted. My heart is happy. They got 1 game. I want to see them get a second, and right now they're looking strong enough to do that. I wonder what BTG is going to be able to do in terms of coming back from that now.
I don't know what BTG are going to do. That was honestly a really fantastic set of plays from Flogel. And I was going to say, but I didn't have enough time to make the pun. Honestly, there are many holes in Flogel's play. Plays. So you could say they're a bit like a Civ, specifically explosive and decisive. They constantly try and make these plays and are asking the questions, and the answer is either we have a way to deal with this or we eat lead. And that is Flogel through and through. Brilliant start to the day. The question is about that second map. Will we see BTG recover and get a better read on them?
I don't know. So far, Flogel has been feeding BTG a balanced diet of lead straight through the head. And now I believe we're going to restart due to some technical difficulties. And we'll be back with the second game as soon as we can.
It'll be about 5 to 10 minutes. So sorry if we're away for a little bit, but as you can see, probably from the stream, we have been having some technical issues. We'll try and get them resolved for you as quickly as possible. So don't go anywhere, as more DPL is coming right up.
Always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy. Look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand. You've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel. Only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Because you are stronger. Stronger.
Hello everyone and welcome back to DPL Season 2 Week 5. I got it right this time. I am Rook and I'm joined by Zombie Bacon as we are bringing you the second game of the series between Flogel and BTG and Game 1 started off not at all how we expected, right?
Absolutely not at all. Flogel winning 7-1 over BTG, a huge upset, and Flogel's first win of their DPL season.
Yeah, honestly, a great way for them to be able to find their first. We were saying they're a little bit of the underdog squad. They definitely have a kind of humongous thing ahead of them. BTG are a strong team. That's why they are third in the league. And they've got to prove themselves here. But obviously, there are chinks in the armor for both sides. BTG, we saw them completely in the light of day in Game 1. But that's not to say Flogel don't have some issues too. They need to lock this one out, obviously, and prove that they are the stronger team in this matchup.
Absolutely, but I do want to quickly throw it over to our stat master Donut, who gave us the stats for Flogels from that game, and I am looking at it, and it is astonishing. I quickly need to shout out my friend Ghetto, going 12-2, 12-2 with an average time alive of 119.13. I mean, that's insane on any metric.
Yeah, it was a really impressive performance. And it kind of, if you look at the rest of the squad as well, multiple players in double digits and just continually putting up the numbers for the big frags. And that was absolutely such a major part of it, obviously, because they were so up and aggressive. And the fact that they're able to convert off of that is always an important thing. Sometimes you see teams who are aggressive, but then just don't hit the shots or aren't aggressive and therefore don't even find the frags. We are seeing Flogel find their way to play the game, and that creativity that we see from them is really shining through here as well with the way they're attacking and the way they're defending some of these strats.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's important to look at this is where Flogel is shining. New maps and their on-the-fly creativity is pretty much unrivaled. And that's the clean sweep. So I'm hoping for it again. So
yeah, I'm hoping that Flogel picked this up. I really want to see an EU team pick up a win here today. If not, I guess we have momentum later. But Flogel are currently poised in such a fantastic position to leverage that win that they've got, obviously, now on that defense again. And starting off on an interesting map here, Northern Bison as the operation.
Absolutely an amazing map here for these teams to show off their skill. And BTG here getting attacked first again. Old map that we have, going for a classic red door in the office, which is pretty standard from what we see.
It is a little bit of a slow start. No committals from BTG. I think making very much the right decision, knowing that if you push on in, you're going to get caught out. So trying to make sure that there's no one in office and then flashing on in, making the execute happen. The spray through the wall, and Kuko actually finds that. Fantastically played to find a frag early on here, and even some damage, I believe, onto Frosty there, showing that, well, yeah, sure, Flogel are individual fraggers, but they can find those plays through the wall. However, they give themselves up, and Kuko goes down in response as Godspeed is all too happy to, well, send many shots downrange back right at them.
Absolutely. Wall being central right now, a Team Hypa classic, but not all of them connecting. Kuko through the wall and then Godspeed trading back, but this is dangerous.
Yeah, no committal yet. They're going to have to find a way to execute onto site. They don't have a lot of time to work with. Oh, Boss Jr. has to be careful, taking a lot of damage here, but he's still alive for now. Ghetto, Boss Jr., and Tiger Man all playing in backstage right now, just trying to leverage the weaponry that they have. Flashes come on in, the execute's there, the spray comes. Whoa. That's a beautiful molly! They don't even manage to find a frag. You see BTG completely pigeonholed on that push with 2 players left remaining. They still have 40 seconds to work with, but they have no control over this map.
Oh, man. Billboard looking to save that Saber outside, grabbing the clacker, running away. Godspeed getting a kill through the wall, and Flogel 2v2, but they're both so low, and that Molly's going to keep them out and prevent them from doing anything really here, although they're coming back in to try and secure the round.
Yeah, Tiger Man Looking to maybe play it from this backstage and get up and aggressive. You can see Ghetto is looking for these opportunities to wallbang.
Whoa.
There's the spray. Tiger Man might have just bought enough time, 9 seconds, and Billboard is fully aware they're not going to be able to find at this point. And a win on the board already. Flogel starting as they mean to go on.
Very unfortunate for Flogels there. You know, Tiger Man securing the round for them, but it would have been so much better if they were able to trade onto BTG and Billboard with that Saber, also forcing them to lose that Clacker. Saber's being kept and the Clacker's being kept despite the unsuccessful round for BTG. Great use of keeping their utility, but Flogel's just unwavering from last game, feeling it, and they're ready to go and wipe the floor with BTG again. BTG, though, I will add, putting up a stronger fight right now, much stronger. Really focusing on getting those frags and playing a little slower, which is kind of uncharacteristic for them. But who knows? Maybe they're trying to try out some new things around Flogo's playstyle. Heated Blood, great map name, and also another classic map here. We have a center teller, which we have seen less and less of lately, but very strong. Generally what we see, Barbs coming out in front of the teller to prevent the wall charge rush, which BTG's marking out. Won't be surprised to see, absolutely, as we see this, what I like to call the half moon of Barbs coming out. One in front of teller, and the one in front of the teller door has to be far enough back so that if BTG does decide to wall charge that far right storefront door, it won't get blown up by that wall charge. Because we have to remember, wall charge, larger blast radius than a door charge. So really pushing back and trying to keep that bar very conservative, but also keeping it so it blocks that green door as well. Not much to say here tactically from BTG, really ignoring the top half of the map and wanting to push in through storefront because of where bomb is placed with this very, very open setup. I will say I'm extremely disappointed. Too many pinball machines in arcade. I only see one DDR machine, and frankly, I feel cheated after our last game with our 7 DDR machines. I am not happy, and someone owes me more DDR machines. Flogel, BTG here hopping out of the truck, getting into the round, setting up for their wall charge. Trying to clack it from a distance there. Shot's not quite finding anybody. Playing it very slow, very uncharacteristic for BTG. Flashes out. Billboard takes out Kuko. Ooh, Ghetto doing work in tellers. Ooh, Ghetto getting the clean 3K, evening it up for his team here. Very slow from Sox. Sox trying to find that. Very low, though, pushing Boss Jr. over into arcade. Billboard grabbing the power. Tiger Man in office, trying to keep his cool as Boss comes through bathroom. Wall banging with the leg roast through the wall onto Bomb. Boss Jr. and Freezer fighting with Billboard. Yeah, Billboard going down.
Whoa! Brilliant play by by Boss Jr. to be able to find that frag there. Sox is still alive. This is a 2 versus 1. Sox doesn't have a lot to work with. They're going to push on out. But with Boss Jr. being able to tell where they are from Teller, this should be a relatively easy round for Tiger Man and Boss Jr. to be able to shove on out. You can see that Sox just isn't sure what they want. Wall bangers there. Brilliantly played by Flogel, and well, despite all the technical issues of obviously everything going down there for a second, that was a relatively just solid and well played out round from Flogel.
I do want to point out though, huge brain play from Flogel there. We're seeing Ingmar being taken more, and no, pardon me. We're seeing Legros. I should know my guns. We're seeing Legros taken more and more on C-Store because it's one of the few guns in the game that has that power to punch through those C-Store walls, which, as we saw, that's what secured the round for Flogels there. Again, setting up very, very, very strongly for them. And Flogel unwavering, absolutely not giving BTG any space to breathe, to make decisions, to execute on anything either.
Yeah, and as we said before, very decisive a squad, and always going to try and execute off of that. And that's why the Legros, I think, is really good for them, because it's one of the ways that they can actually try and contest at range. They want to constantly be applying a pressure, and the Legros does that perfectly with those wall bangs that you said. And it's why you see so many teams constantly favoring that weapon. Able to put on basically unlimited amounts of pressure, and is a little bit more widely available than some of those other power weapons.
Yeah, and also here, very scary place for BTG to be. Losing a clacker that round, and Flogel knows that. Calling out 2 barbs here to really, and 3 even in storage, to prevent that push, and now changing it to 1 after hearing that clacker. But that will be dangerous for BTG if they need to execute on a green door play here as well. BTG circling out the power on the northern side. I'm going to switch views here for a second so we can see how this server is laid out and how dangerous that can be, as they have to execute on both sides, because it can be very dangerous for anyone is on the attackers, as that is a room notorious for having a team member of the defenders hiding or even just swinging on this corner with them. Barb's coming out, and this round going to be exciting. BTG still has a clacker going for the red door dock entry. This will be exciting.
You're talking about a team as well that's going to play those servers and swing you. That is Flogel to a T. Even when they weren't having fantastic executes like they're doing, even in rounds they've lost, they love to try and play these server angles, particularly Flogel themselves, just always playing that kind of angle. So, going to be interesting to see if BTG are able to properly flush that out and deal with it. I love that Billboard is playing back towards Dock here, maybe trying to put on some pressure at range, very aware that that office could be a real problem. But you can see, obviously, 3 players sitting in storage for Flogel means that they're happy.
4 players.
4 players. Okay, they're just layered on top of each other. I was wondering where that 5th person had gone, but they were sitting right on top of each other there. You see the shots come on through, and already have to be kind of worried. Boss Jr. starting to move on over, very scared about Doc. And now with the pressure coming on as well from Billboard, even finding the frag, I actually think Flogel are kind of a little bit worried now, and I think very rightly so, because without office control over that bomb, probably contesting it can be very, very difficult.
Extremely, and also that frag coming out from BTG, clearing that barb is going to change the pace of this game for them as they try to make an aggressive execute here towards power. Ooh. Kuko going down. Ned fighting Tiger Man, grabbing the power. Flogel on the back foot here. BTG looking to make a clean sweep.
Yeah, they're trying to take this one.
Yeah, Billboard looking for shots. Tiger Man going down. Oof, Flogel going down. Ghetto, last man standing. 5v1. Can he do it? BTG's slightly low. 2 members full health though. And in the dark too. The dark is a scary place to be. No nightlight for Ghetto. He finds Socks.
Yeah, it's going to be just Godspeed cleaning him out, though. No flawless round for BTG, but they do at least get the pick up the round, so they get something in this half. I think they're pretty happy to be able to find that at all. They're obviously going to be side switching now. And is there anything you feel like is going to be really important for Flogel coming into this attacking round? Because we kind of saw that they were happy to invest that wall charge early when they were on the attack in the previous game. Do you think there's going to be something important like that here?
I don't think there'll be something too important like that here. I'm expecting the wall charge to be used on C-Store again. But I want to point out too, this mirrors what we saw in the last game. BTG finding 1 attacker win and then getting stomped out by Flogel's attack side. BTG here, I think, has more in their favor. These are some classic maps for them. this is where BTG, I think, will feel really comfortable, and Flogel loses a bit of that creative edge here. But as we know, attackers are scary. That extra 50 health, man, that is daunting as always. But that's how it is as we get into Northern Bison again. Now, this one, I could see a wall charge here, but I don't normally expect that. Generally, if we're going to see that, they're going to come through checkpoint. So that way it's not a double charge, particularly for the first map. And BTG looking at that locker play, drawing that line out, really expecting that from them. And oh no, they're erasing it just as Flogel is drawing it onto the map. And this will be scary. BTG expecting an office with throwing out one barb there, but Flogel's coming in through lockers, might be catching them off guard. BTG not seeing much from them, classic in their nature, but really expecting that office push aside. But will they be able to deny Flogel? 2 barbs coming out from BTG again now. Being erased though, not sure if they're wanting to commit 2 there, possibly just 1 barb to lockers on the inside. Doing an L shape, really unique. This will also prevent the push in as Flogels tries to move in rather than just through the door. It'll really give them a nice cross section here, but also keeping that barb from being destroyed on the outside with a free nade. Flogel here about to jump out of the truck and get in BTG's face once again, looking to win this game as well. Really interested to see what Flogels are going to bring here. Generally classic. Flogel with the shotgun, we've been seeing do a lot of work with this billboard, hiding up in office, holding onto a molly. That could be a game changer for Flogel here as they slow walk towards lockers. This is scary. This is scary. They're going to be walking into a lot of BTG, and billboard, the wild card, has a huge opportunity to flank if he chooses to take it or play it cool and just wallbang onto the bomb. Everyone's looking, trying to decide where they're coming from. Not sure. Flogel's taking their time, kind of uncharacteristically. As we get down to the 133 mark. Flash in, fast execute, double flash. Wallbang's coming out. Tiger Man with a smoke in the corner. Not quite sure what that was supposed to do, unfortunately for him. But Ned holding them off. The nade going off for Flogels, removing that barb. Still, Molly denying them that entry. Flash, they're moving in. Tiger Man, Kuko, boss in. Trading shots with Ned. Ned able to find Kuko. Billboard making the flake of the century around, but Flogel's waiting for him. Who will win? Flogel does with the 1 pump shotty. BTG getting low. Sox, last member alive for BTG. Boss Jr. heading in, getting just absolutely stomped by Sox and the Legros. Now, Flogel's wanting to make a coordinated attack with Tiger Man finding that kill. Man, Billboard had the real opportunity there to do something huge, but Flogel waiting for him, knew it was coming. Flogel picking up that knack. Tiger Man grabbing that KR. This is scary. This is very scary. This is what we are seeing. We're seeing a repeat of last game. Flogel wanting this match to themselves, wanting to walk out of here with a double win and just really embarrass BTG here. BTG trying to find their shots, but not quite connecting, unfortunately.
I mean, Team Flogel just constantly finding their way on in there, and a good way to kind of repel BTG. And if Team Flogel pick up the win here, how do you feel about the chances for a 2-0 evening for Europe? Because I mean, momentum, if they carry off their namesake of Team Flogel, they could really find themselves in a great position, because right now Team Flogel are just ripping through BTG. And as I kind of said in the previous in previous game, unless BTG change up something quick, this could be a pretty dominant performance.
Absolutely, could be very, very dominant here. I will say though, EU today, but this will be scary. Momentum and Flogel has very different play styles. The only thing connecting them both being EU teams. So now we're back here on Heated Blood. Flogel's going for a classic storefront rush. BTG calling out those barbs, not being nearly as creative as Flogel was, not marking it out here to catch that office door slightly, and Flogels wanting to find that office that worked for them last time. Already a grenade called out for the teller side, as well as deep flashes to prevent any shots going in on them. But the important defining factor of the difference here is Flogels taking control of that office to deny that possible leg roast wallbang onto bomb that was so successful for them and really secured them that round. So I'm excited to see what they are going to do.
Yeah, a couple of ways you can kind of change things up, but I do like that the execute is coming into storefront again. We see that generally Flogel likes storefront pushes because they can really wrap around. There's a couple of different angles to play from. But with these barbed wires here, it could make it really difficult. I'm really surprised to see that barbed wire not stopping that office push, because that feels like a classic play that Flogel as a squad would love to do. If you do not deal with that office push, you're going to have that flank coming on in. At least one player, maybe 2, 3, even 4. That might be their whole wraparound strategy. I think you need to be more respectful of this if you are BTG here.
Absolutely, and BTG being smart with that barb placement, placing it far enough back, I think that's what's preventing them from doing that, but also allowing Ned to operate within Teller there. As Flogel gets into the start of the match, again, slow walking, taking their time, really toying with their food here. It's interesting. Flogel placing that wall charge. This will be as you were saying, they play like a sieve, as this will be explosive for them.
Oh, good molly. Does get some damage onto Flogel, but they still manage to take control of the teller right away. And this is absolutely it. Divide and conquer. Surround them and completely consume them. Flogel trading against Sox there, but Sox actually manages to win it out with Tiger Man not getting the flank in office. If Frosty can hold this and take down Boss Jr., this is now a great position. It's 1 versus 3. And this went exactly as you wanted it to go if you're obviously a BTG fan. Kuko, the only one remaining. Well, BTG this time have actually managed to stem the tide of Flogel. The aggression that we normally see didn't really work out all too well. They got some early frags, but then kind of faltered when they tried to push on through Billboard. He's playing this angle. Kuko can contest them properly. Kuko knows they've got a minute. Yeah, sure. But there's so many angles for them to clear out with 2 players. They really do have their work cut out from them. That's why they're going for this bomb defuse. Kuko very aware that there's going to be someone on either side needs to deal with. At least one of them is pushing Billboard. Can they get the frag? They can indeed. And with 45 seconds on the clock, they have a decent bit to play for. Right now, Kuko holding the angle, but cannot win it out. Frosty just contests it from through freezer into bathroom and then easily picking that one up. No win for Flogel here, as we do see the first defensive round on the board for BTG.
Absolutely. Very unfortunate for Kuko there. Throwing that flash perhaps a little too late, being midair while he died. But BTG throwing major props to Flogel there, picking up on that leg roast and office strategy and using it against them. Unable to find any of the wallbang kill success that Flogel had, but still nonetheless taking it and trying it out. So BTG really recognizing Flogel's creative potential there with that pick. Now we're going into our factory map. I'm excited to what we're going to see here. Any thoughts on what Flogel's going to do?
On this factory map, it's kind of interesting because I would expect him to try and play through the fan, but I don't feel like the fan's particularly good here. Normally, it's very, very strong, allows you to provide that kind of line of fire. You get something on over the bomb. That's not really what you want from the attackers. You want to be able to actually contest the office push and contest the dock. So I actually expect them to push into storage and maybe in via dock to provide that kind of pincer. That's what I'm looking at for them. And right now, it looks like dock is exactly where they want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking, also marking out possibly some window nades. Maybe a smoke here and shelving will be very powerful to prevent any of those long angles on their push through dock. And really committing to this dock push, 4 members at least, if not 5, if they want to commit someone to that top side into fan maybe to peek through. But really, we see the care that Flogel puts into their aggression, marking out all of the angles they want watched, really denying all of those highways, looking at office, looking in the back corner of dock here, which was almost successful for Ghetto on this map, but as well as denying this long angle shelving if they decide to do that smoke through. which I'm not sure if they're ready to commit to. BTG really expecting the charge play here from either Fan or Doc. I'm excited to see how they deal with it. I honestly not too sure how they will. Playing one person down by Doc, really sort of committing more so up to the server's play, keeping those long angles we saw and what I was talking about. Frosty with the clacker and shotgun playing by Doc probably might make Flogels have a bad day as he opens truck to just tease them a little bit.
Frosty can find something big here. Well, it would be just that. It would be such a way for them to deny this push, especially with 3 players coming at angle. Oh, you got to be so careful. And Frosty, this is something which I'd expect from the Flogel squad. It's proving again that BTG and Flogel, while there is obviously a little bit of a difference between them, they do like that same kind of style. Frosty, trying to look for that clack. Really wants to let it happen. I think they're waiting very sensibly for it to happen. There it comes, and it catches one off guard. Frosty, the really big play, but Tiger Man knows they're back in there. They don't get it. Billboard covers. Where was that shot even from? It was from Office over the smoke. I think that smoke whiffed. They didn't manage to get it down, and now that is such a disaster, honestly, for the attacking side. When you see Flogel be a little bit quicker, Frosty's still there, but I think they've actually locked them away. It's going to be a little bit difficult for them to really have that pressure, but Ghetto gets wasted, and now Boss Jr. and Kuko are looking for those angles to try and contest from. They get rid of Ned, that'd be big, but no, they lose the duel. And Kuko yet again finds themselves at 1 versus, I believe, 2, because Frosty is completely cut out of the situation. Shot comes on in, but they're the one taking all the damage. They're going to need to find this quickly. Billboard tries to peek it. Ned is creeping up ever closer and just doesn't have the angle. Kuko cannot flush them out. 39 seconds on the clock. Finds the first. Just needs to finish that one more. You can see Billboard is ever so low right now, trying to contest that angle, but the same could be said for Kuko. A flash goes on.
Oh, no!
Kuko might have just done it, and Frosty, they tried to beam them. They tried to get that cheeky play on in there, but unfortunately, sometimes you could be too cheeky, and a round coming through here for Flogel. Frosty just sitting in that position in dark, completely locked away and unable to do a thing.
Oh, no, man. Frosty must just be so upset. The play worked for him. He got the opening kill on Flogel with Flogel's own door charge, but Kuko there, that ingenious flash, throwing it down the right side, then playing on the left, Billboard being flashed, still swinging on that, and then opening himself up to him there. And I mean, Kuko, props to him. He took that 2v1 with 15 health, because he did take a mop shot there, which is just insane. And keeping his cool, finding 2 kills there. I mean, I know it was a 3v1, but really, being locked in truck is a scary thing. I don't like trucks, man. I don't like sitting in there, and that's a big reason why. Now we're on to our new Daedalus Hermit map. Again, this is what I alluded to earlier last time we saw this courtyard. This courtyard here is so much fun to me because of this, as we see lines being drawn out, but these double green door entry here for attackers that can really make it so much more appetizing to take because of these angles you get in through here, as well as these windows, but also the long angle here onto that stage, as well as the peek over onto that, if you hop up on that sofa as well, peeking over these kind of strangely placed pile of bricks just in the middle of nowhere. I guess they were doing some renovating or something. I'm not quite sure. Must be. I mean, obviously. Flogels here, not quite sure what they want to do. This is a newer map, I will add. This is one I have played in scrims and in casual play. I'm excited to see what Flogel does. BTG marking out a double barb here in Office, as well as this is one of the strongest barb spots I have seen in a while, is the barb down here in this backstage area from Office. This will be scary for them, committing 4 barbs here, as well as 1 member of the team in Brickhouse, but mainly devoting most of their manpower onto site here. But I'm excited to see what happens. Godspeed in Office with the KR. Flogels again walking, finding success with it. This is interesting.
They reposition and then strike from there. I like that they're not trying to give away any information. Happy to waste the time because they know when they execute, for the most part, they have a lot of time left after in that kind of later game position. Gonna be able to open up this door. This time, no clacker to really mess with them. And Frosty not down with that one. I don't feel like the last game was even remotely their fault. They did their job. But this time, they're going to be in a very similar position, but not quite so aggressive. Sitting Club waiting closest one. You can see Flogels waiting in that angle as well. They're going to be able to deal with the door. A little bit of damage going through, but the attackers pretty happy to just weather the storm for now. As smoke goes on in to cut off some all-important angles. Sox peeks on through with Frosty. That's some good frags, and a nice molly as well means that, well, Flogel and Kuko just overextend. HE to try and deny something there, but still we see Boss Jr. relatively low, waiting for their opportunity to push on through. Some more banks trying to land, and even through the windows there, Billboard trying to leverage that massively. And well, right now, Tiger Man being a little bit too close there, gets caught off guard before the flash goes on off. And it's an easy way for Ned to pick him on up. It is 2 versus 5. Looks like Flogel with this aggression, well, this round they really just got stifled.
Yeah, really just being denied all that. The smoke there didn't allow them to commit Tiger Man to the play. Ghetto finally getting a kill on Godspeed, finding one to try and even this up, but Boss Jr. is so low, I don't know if they want to commit to anything.
You can see the shots coming through, and from Ned there, and Boss Jr.'s like, if I step out, I probably die. Have to be a little bit worried about this. 25 seconds. Boss Jr., I think, is deciding, hey, do I want to save? Do I want to go? I mean, this is the first, like, real round that they've had to push on through right now. Boss Jr. is still not sure, just playing for time. I think they're just saving here, maybe trying to find some exit frags. But for the most part, yeah, they're going to be sitting back, and this was not a great round for Flogel, was it?
Not a great round for them. BTG doing work like they normally do. And I think Boss Jr. wasn't necessarily looking for any frags there, but rather trying to pick up utility. I saw him pick up a flash, trying to save as much as he could for his team, maybe looking for that clacker, but we have to remember, I believe Flogel had that clacker, and he ran deep and lost that shotgun battle with Frosty, unfortunately for him. But, you know, Flogel still playing very well. You know, that was a sweep of a round from BTG, and it's a new maps, new half of this game, and honestly, it's very different now. Looking very different. Flogel really stuttering a little bit with their plans, in my opinion, not really executing them as well as they did. Really getting down to the particularly with that factory clutch we saw from Kuko. Coming up on our C-Store map here. A classic map again. No new stuff here for us today. Kaiser Chariot. I would love to point out, though, this shed. We've seen this before. I remember Momentum's game on here where Macius made an incredible clutch, saving the clacker for his team by standing right in the corner of Teller there. Really, really just a scary time for him. This map has been in rotation for a while, but I do want to point out this upper window up here. What is so fascinating about this is the ability here, not only to throw nades through it, but also hopping up on the car and being able to shoot through it gives you a very nice angle all the way into storage as well. We see Flogels committing an individual here over by Shed to watch that long angle in bathroom. I believe they're wanting the wall charge here. Again, important to note with the wall charge, this double door here, reason why we see teams take that when they want, when they can, and when they want to, is because it gives you a larger hole. That's it. It gives you a double wide space instead of the single wide for most entries there.
Bigger is better.
Yeah, bigger is always better, particularly when it's an entry hole. You definitely want more room to stretch your legs as you're running through, and I'm hoping that's what we're going to see from Flogels here, a very aggressive play style. This might not work out for them. BTG really conceding to this southern side of the map, not really going to let Flogels find anything. Calling out their flashes. If Flogels does this right and fast enough, that could be 3 or 4 very easy kills for them. But this walking start once again. Sox looking for that charge kill. This is not good for Flogels.
Yeah, Flogel will need to be very careful. Sox moves away, maybe not expecting this. Oh, running back. Running up and down. Getting his cardio in.
Yep.
Pretty respectable. I think just listening for that opportunity to try and get the Counter charge.
Oh.
There it comes. Doesn't actually land anyone there. So well played by Flogels. And they get 2 players on in right there. Tiger Man caught off guard though by the molly still. Kuko also manages to frag out. And this is Flogels yet again making their mark. They lose Tiger Man as he goes a little bit too deep there. But not all too bad, honestly, as Ghetto is, well, summarily executed for his crimes. I don't know what they were, but Boss Jr. doesn't want to let him have it at all. Kuko's going to push up and aggressive, and, well, that'll be Frosty gone as well as Ned. Good round from Flogels there, and in pretty Flogel fashion.
Very fast and great, clean execute with the flashes there. I think Ghetto was executed because he did a little too much work last game. You know, Boss wanted
too high a KDA. Exactly. Doesn't want to let him have it.
He doesn't want to let him have it, but also in addition to that, I think it's a little bit of forced vacation time. You got to take it there. You're being forced to take it. Doesn't matter if you want it or not. You're taking your vacation and you will enjoy it. Flogel, the player, not the team, grabbing both clackers. And also, I love Boss Jr. with the Gruber here. Picking that up. Fun little gun. Gruber ganging it up on attack side. Love the memes from him, as well as an Ingmar going over to Kuko. This is a good position for Flogels. Flogels looking to secure match point at very least on their last attacker round before having to flex their defense muscles a little bit, you know.
We've seen some strong defense from them as well. It's been pretty impressive for the most part.
Very impressive. I would say almost uncharacteristically strong from what we've seen from them in the past. They obviously have been working on it, and whatever workout routine they've been doing for it has been working.
Yeah, they've looked absolutely fantastic. And I think it's also kind of bringing that same mindset that they have on attack, where they want to constantly contest you for everything on that defense and not necessarily doing it with their bodies, like I've actually seen from them a lot before. They're contesting it with shots. So again, going back to that legacy we were talking about, ready to wallbang at a moment's notice and continually putting that fire down wherever they can.
Absolutely. Very interesting map. I don't know if we've had this in a DPL match actually yet, but it has been a map that has been around for quite a bit. And this looks like a classic Flogel play. I do want to quickly turn away from the strats here for a second to point out something that I love on this map. Is this red door here, because look at how deep of an angle this gets you, which is good and bad. Very, very long conveyors here, as well as a dock that, in my opinion, doesn't really matter that much. This map is very spread out, even for a storage and toxic map. But this office, I've seen in my experience playing on it, has become such a contention point, not only because bomb has to be defused this way, but also because it gives you so much in terms of flexibility of how to play. You can jump down into shelving to then approach from a different angle. You can also play in the blind office corner through the door. But Flogel's wanting that office control, wanting to deny that initially. Going through the fan, looking for a very heavy smoke play and some deep flashes. They're going to try and Kobe down into conveyors as BTG here setting up for it. I don't think they're prepared. Going with a very interesting double barb here into shelving to prevent a push there, but Flogel's wanting to stay on top and probably loop and take the long walk around into that office as, again, slow walking towards the fan.
Surprised to not see anyone contest conveyors. I feel like that'd be a really nice place to try and open up. But fan, obviously, also another one of those long angles, which could be particularly impactful in this round. Hopefully the lag will subside soon and we'll be able to actually see what's going on here. But I think that, well, Flogel are probably going to try and play at least one of their players on up there. I think Kuko is the one with that long-range rifle and is generally that long-range rifle player for the squad. So really looking to try and flex that on their opponents.
Absolutely. Some server issues coming out here, unfortunately. I'm not sure what's happening. Some classic technical difficulties with this game right now. But I am expecting Flogels to really strongly execute with this as we see Billboard up in the northern side of the map.
Oh.
Yep, and I believe the game just crashed.
Okay, hopefully we'll get some visual for you as soon as we possibly can. It looks like we're struggling to see if the match is still on.
I believe the game crashed for everyone. I do see Flogels out of the match right now. There's some horrible technical difficulties. The game did break for everyone. I do want to point that out right now for people. Last scores we see currently is 3-5. Flogels looking to secure that 6th round, but unfortunately the server's just giving out on us today.
Mhm.
Not sure what we're going to want to do. Flogels, though, really putting a strong performance on so far, but wanting to secure that match point, and BTG looking to deny it. I think we're going to throw it to a quick break while we resolve this issue. Anything you want to add in, Rock?
No, I just hope that we get the technical issue sorted as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We apologize, and we will be back soon as we sort this out and see what the teams want to do with continuing. Traditionally, I believe, per the DPL rulebook, if it crashes in the second half, which this has, we will go from the game score at the half of the match. So that could be very, very interesting to see. I do not currently remember what it was. I apologize, but we're going to figure that out, and we're going to throw it back to a quick break.
Turn it on.
All right, we are back, and we have hopefully resolved all the technical difficulties. Um, as you know, it's very unexpected, unfortunate for us, but I do want to point out our referee here today is Plague, and they have made a ruling on what is going to happen from here. So, according to Rule 4.1.5, server outage mid-game can occur. In the event of a game server outage while a game is in progress, teams will remake and replay the game from the half the outage occurred, regardless of the scoreline at the time of the server failure. If the outage had occurred in the first half of the game, then the entire map will be restarted and whatever. And in this case, what is going to happen is we're going to replay this match from the halftime scoreline. So that is Flogels 4-2 over BTG. So Plague is the one to make this call, and that's where we're going to restart as we currently are waiting for the teams to queue up again. I do also want to note that we are going to play it from the side that crash happened on. So for this case, Flogels will be playing on attacker side to restart that that half. So that way it's fair for both teams. And we're just waiting for them to get in. They will speed run that half if that doesn't happen, because that is unfortunately up to RNG right now. However, if that does happen, the scoreline will not matter in that case. We are just going to go ahead and start from the half, and it will be again Flogels 4-2 over BTG. So far, it's been an exciting game, not only in sense of playstyle from Flogels really showing off and showing out here, also, unfortunately, with the technical difficulties we've been experiencing. But I want to throw it to you, Rock, and see what your thoughts on the game are so far.
I mean, with a 2-4 scoreline, it was not quite as impressive as the first game from Flogels, but pretty impressive nonetheless. Some generally very strong performances. I unfortunately had some technical issues of my own and didn't actually catch all of it, but from what I saw, it was some really nice defensive play, coupled with some not quite as successful attacking side, but still not terrible from Flogels. But they didn't quite make it happen in the way they wanted to and got caught out. A brilliant clutch as well from Kukos, I believe, on I can't exactly remember
Factory.
which map, but
It was on
Factory. Yeah, over on Factory. Sorry.
It was on Factory where I believe it was Socks. They trapped
Yeah,
in the car like a caged animal. I felt so bad for him.
I think it was Frosty, but yeah, it was
Frosty, I'm
absolutely brilliant.
sorry.
And just completely locked out and unable to do anything. And it's like it was that 2v1. I think it was still a 2 or 3v1, disregarding the player stuck away, but absolutely huge clutch and continuing to put so much of the team on his back. And we've seen brilliant performances from Flogels across the board. I mean, we were highlighting the stats before, but still just really impressive stuff.
Very, very impressive. And in addition to that, I really want to throw it to Flogels and their creativity here. Taking Allegros on C-Store, on that one C-Store map, we saw wall banging through the hard C-Store wall with that Legros. And that was something that was so creative that even BTG picked up on it and did that back to them. Unfortunately, being not finding the wallbang kills that Flogels were able to find with it, but actually still securing the round for them, even though it was down to the wire. A 1v1 is what it ended up being. And that's what we're seeing from a lot of these games right now. We're seeing them go down to the wire. We're seeing them be so, so tense, and it's so exciting to watch.
Yeah, they constantly put themselves in situations where they're going to be fighting for their lives. And even in the rounds where they don't win, they've been great to watch. So I've really loved how they've been playing. And that's why I'm a big fan of them in general. Just generally very impressive stuff. And looking on forward, if they can continue to perform like that, not only are they my favorite to win this map, but they're also one of my favorite teams. G, you're a close second. I'll give you that because they're certainly a good team as well. And they have been playing, at least somewhat trying to match Team Flogels' aggression. Not necessarily the aggression, but with a more measured response, which shows that they are a more balanced team, much more ready to respond to their opponents.
Absolutely. And I think with that comes also the experience factor.
Mm.
Very, very experienced team that we see from BTG. But also with that experience comes the unfortunate crutch of relying on knowing what you're going to do. and that can stifle the creativity in some ways of the team and a lot of the creativity that we do see come out from teams like Flogels and things like that. And that's what we've really been seeing. I mean, a lot with the reactive barbs is something
Mhm.
new. We didn't even see that as close as last week. These teams are really starting to think outside of the box here.
Yeah, and it's also really great to see Flogels themselves putting a lot of work in to adapt these new strategies for functional play in competitive, because it's actually really difficult to get that to happen sometimes. So really
You're
interesting to see that they've actually managed to do that.
you're exactly right. And also we are fortunate enough, Flogels coming in on the attacker side here. Coming in, we're getting to watch the match right away. Flogels going for another play here on this C-store they lost last time, hoping to clinch it up and keep their 4-2 lead here, taking their sweet time.
Fortune favors the bold, and maybe the bold are favored by fortune. The frags come on out almost instantaneously in a very quick execute here coming out from Flogels. This time trying to make things happen a little bit more in their favor. They struggled on this map the last time they played on this attack, but if they can execute well as this, well, who even cares? It's just one player left, and Flogel is putting the pressure onto them. Do you see a shot come on out? They don't actually manage to go on down. Still trying to bait out on that defuse. Billboard is going to have to push on out, and it's going to be oh so difficult for them to do so. The spray comes on in, and well, that's all she wrote. Brilliant play for there from Team Flogel, and this time that very aggressive play style working out for them here, on at least on this map choice.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, this map going the way of Flogels this time in a very clean and spectacular style. Billboard there, taking the Legros again, hoping to make that office through the wall work. However, Flogel pushing him out of that after getting that entry in the office on Frosty, and Flogel walking away with a KR and a knack. What they love to do, looting that defender guns up to take on attack side. So now that is we're going into 5-2 in Flogel's favor, and this again still remaining to be a very exciting experience to watch.
Yeah, Team Flogel also picking up a map that they didn't the first time round, proving that they're able to adapt to how that one went on out. And that's not something you often get in a DPL match, to see the team playing on the same map again, in the same role, against the same team. And well, Flogel stepping up to the plate. BTG, they knew what was coming as well, and they weren't able to deal with it this time. I think that's in part because of the way Flogel really approached it. They did just try and ram their way on through.
Absolutely, and that time it worked for them. And now we're back here to Crimson Daedalus, another classic kill house map here. Not really surprised what we're seeing being drawn out from Flogel here, entering in through this red office and focusing on these wall bangs into kitchen. I do want to note the wall bang here through kitchen does work, because if we take a minute to look, it's actually separated. So yes, while the defenders can crouch and look down to avoid those headshots, those wall bangs into all corners of kitchen here are still very, very scary. I'm curious to see what BTG will be preparing for. Flogel marking out a barb here. I'm expecting them to bring a nade to clear that as well. And I'm sure that's the illustrious Flogel himself going to be standing there with the shotgun to prevent any sort of cheeky pushes from behind that BTG may want to execute on this time. And I'm excited to see this as they go through. BTG calling out a single barb up here in lockers. Unfortunately, might only hurt them, might be shooting themselves in the foot there, slowing them down into that kitchen play, because the problem with this map, how it stands, is just where bomb is, you can't quite wallbang it from this side of the map through lockers. Just slightly too over the edge there as well.
Mm-hmm.
2 players in club for that really sort of crisp rotate into office, but Flogel going to be expecting that, as they, again, another classic, walking out, not wanting to forfeit any information over to BTG here. Ned will probably get a jump scare of his lifetime here once that charge goes off.
Indeed they will. This time no clacker shenanigans for the defending side. BTG need to be careful here, but I think Ned very sensibly backing off, but is actually trying to make the run for it. Boss Jr. Didn't actually push on through that angle, and a lot of wall bangs coming on through. I was going to say that we'd likely see something that was able to do a lot of wall banging here, and well, obviously we got exactly that. Flogel and the rest of his squad have to be careful here. Billboard with a fantastic ambush there, getting a big spray down. But Boss Jr. is alive for now, managed to make it out, but obviously can't say the same for Flogel themselves, as Tiger Man is going to open up that wall. Continue to switch back on over to something they're a little bit more comfortable with. Put Force out that molly early on here, and still kind of playing for that time. They know that they've got a lot of work with. Force out some of that utility when you can deny those pushes. No mollies left to the defending side, however.
Yeah, very scary for them. Ghetto taking a risky flash in, pushing in now. The smoke actually probably going to hurt the attackers more than help them.
Ghetto is right up in there, gets taken down by Godspeed into that smoke. Oh, this is just a death choke right now. Kuko's going to move on in. It does get that frag, but unfortunately, Frosty is absolutely on it. Boss Jr. looking at this now and going, do I want to give this away? I don't even think I do. Really unsure about how they want to commit towards this. And well, with that wall banging coming on through, have to be very careful. Oh, just barely alive there, and with a couple of shots coming on through, maybe not for much longer. This is very much a round that isn't going to go the way of Flogels, and they're perfectly fine to find that. They are now on 5 rounds and have to be pretty happy with that. 3-5. This is actually the score that we had the first time round, so we have traded back and forth.
Absolutely, and I think Boss there really just looking to try and secure his team's clacker back, which he does, trying to stay alive. Billboard looking for him, going for a risky peek, but unfortunately, Boss too fast for him, getting down to that south side of the map and staying safe and alive. They do keep clacker there, but BTG does win a round, making the score now 5-3, still in favor of Flogels. Flogels here set up to secure match point, and they want it. Boss, you know, being Neo from the Matrix, dodging all those wall bangs, not getting hit, going very low, getting very close, but not really dying. Fortunately, dodging them a little bit.
Yeah, always good to try and deny any loss of economy if you can help it. So good play there from that squad. And well, Flogels now on to their last attacking round. If they can get 2-1 here, they'd be very happy with that situation and put themselves onto match point. Obviously, you can see at the top that the score is 1-1, but we started off this scoreline with 2-4, with the 4, being Flogel, so it's more 4-2. So right now it is actually 5-3 as the scoreline between these two squads, and a very open position here. This is an interesting take on this map.
Very interesting, and I want to point out this is some of the new stuff that we're seeing out. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to switch to UAV here, and I want to point out this no man's land. So this is kind of a callback, this double entry here. We haven't seen this in quite a while from our maps, which is nice to see. Wall bangable through, but also this is covered on top. These are actually shipping containers sort of married together with a bomb in the middle, which makes it a very dangerous place, not only to hide, but also makes it susceptible to these wall bangs through. As well, I do want to point out one of my new favorite things are these planks we're seeing put out, giving us a lot of really upward mobility. So if we look, we can actually go up that onto the shelving area here, which gives us some fun things to play around with, not only the box here in terms of defending Doc and denying some of these pushes that it looks like Flogels is wanting to make, but also in terms of defending bomb, because if you go servers, one of my favorite things to do is play up here, play around the box in sort of this crescent moon. They kick servers, I loop around here. I not only have the height advantage, but I also have a cover advantage over them generally. If I can land my shots, I might add. Quickly to look at the barbs here that we see out, really expecting a fan push from them, wanting to deny that. However, again, that plank making that sort of circumventable, as Flogel here going for a uncharacteristic so far fast start, jump peeking office, I believe, trying to get some information there.
Yeah, I think an interesting call. Always trying to vary things up. The Flogel squad looks like they're going to interfere fan.
Yeah, but what's important about that office peak is, so actually the windows, the roof of the office is just slightly higher than the base of the window. So while you can't see it if you're just standing, if you get up there and you jump, you can actually get a pretty clear shot in the office and gain yourself a lot of intelligence there. with Tiger Man here ready to throw that flash as they set up to execute.
They do. As you said, some of these barbed wires could be circumvented very easily. Interesting to see that they still put them down there. Would have liked to see maybe a little bit more defense, more back towards actual no man's land and stopping them from getting any flanks on there. Smoke goes on in instantly to cut out that side, but Boss Jr. manages to sneak by the molly, but Sox is ready and waiting on that high ground, easily able to close things out. Office, unfortunately, completely smoked off as well. You can see Godspeed just doesn't want to get there. Ghetto is right in there. Sox goes down to Ned.
No.
Ghetto is making it happen. How did they get away with this? That is daylight robbery. As they're also going to look to take down Billboard, they do just that. And now they can sit on the bomb. 2 players, you can see them scrambling. BTG thought they also had this round, but it might just be so free. Tiger Man finishes off some of those remainings, and Kuko will clean things up. Match point now for the attacking side and soon to be defending. Flogels off the back of Ghetto, the all-star player from map 1. Just make it happen.
Absolutely. Ghetto there with a rather bold rush in there. Ned and Sox getting confused. Even Ghetto like, oh no, they're in the bomb site. Neto gunning down Ned and Sox, and then Billboard panicking. But I want to point out, Billboard died to a fantastic nade that landed right about here from Tiger Man, not from Ghetto himself. So, I mean, that nade really came in clutch from a Tiger Man there, instead of using it as a piece of utility to clear that barb that you could circumvent through kind of toying with that those planks to get you up and around. Really great play to try and secure some, if not a kill, which he got lucky with the kill, but some damage deeper on into the factory. And that's, match point now for Flogels, 6-3.
Yeah, I really think having some further back barbed wires to stop flanks like that would have been so key. You know that Flogel are happy to roam and delve deep into your backline. You got to stop them from doing it. Because if you let Flogels play this kind of style that they like, I mean, what do you expect to see? This exact same thing happening. We're back in this position in C-Store. We're seeing a pretty similar setup to what we've seen before.
Absolutely nothing surprising here from Flogel. I mean, it worked well once, might work well again, and they're expecting it again. This very creative barb here coming out from them to defend not only that office but also this teller push to slow them going in both ways. And I'm assuming we're going to see that office Legros here shooting out onto that bomb site, getting that wallbang angle that no one really expects. Kill House, you expect wallbangs. It's a part of the charm of the map, if you will. It's kind of what makes it fun. But on C-Store, you don't do that on C-Store. Flogels is doing it on C-Store with the Legros. BTG, again, now BTG getting wise to that barb there for office, marking it out themselves. And I think, yeah, great adaptability being shown from BTG here. Also, unfortunately, having played this map against them already, kind of have an idea of what they're going to do. So I'm going to expect that wall charge where it's going to be marked out on one of those 2 doors. Hopefully it catches that barb enough, because I'm going to zoom in on the barb here real quick. It has to hit the center piece of the barb in order for it to explode. So that's why we see a lot of the time barbs through doors are actually favored in one direction, because then it means they can't be destroyed from the other without having to at least shotgun open or kick the door. No Legros though. Flogel's trying to keep BTG on their feet.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Ghetto playing pretty aggressively here. Likely going to slip into Teller if that push comes on in. I love that they're happy to bring this utility here. They only need 1 round. Ghetto manages to slip away. The push is coming through. Flogel, gets taken out. What a HE coming on in there. Sox makes it happen and even sprints in, takes out Kuko. But Ghetto comes up big, finds the first frag onto Frosty with the backup from the rest of their squad. They're able to finish off Godspeed as well. They do that exactly that, but the refrag is there from Billboard before Tiger Man manages to strike them down. It's 2 versus 2, but not a lot of health on the defending side. They're happy to play for time. They know that, obviously, the attackers have to push towards that bomb and go for the defuse. Boss Jr. is happy to play around with this. Push comes on in. They know where Ned is now. The spray comes on through, but Ned, well, he has that barbed wire in front of him. Sometimes that comes back to bite you. And a good round from BTG there means we are still in it. It's still match point for Flogel, but BTG are holding on for their game life.
Absolutely. And BTG, remember we were talking about a very attacker heavy team doing very well there with, I believe, a 57% win rate on their attacker rounds there. And also, that was just such a hard round for Flogels to win, both of them being low, and BTG Ned actually having no damage on him. Ned grabbing up the Gruber to Gruber gang it up. Love to see it. And Sox being fearless, trusting his teammate there to protect him. And also that no Legros pick for no wallbang didn't work out for them this time. I understand wanting to be a little more unexpected by not repeating the same thing, but I wonder if it could have worked for them again here, because that even a single kill there while you're low could have been huge in terms of shifting the pace of that round. Not entirely surprised in what we saw, and I think unfortunately BTG just capitalized it. And I also think Ghetto's Molly there went a little too deep. If it landed just a little more shallow inside of the storefront, could have been a much more not only effective piece of equipment, but also really possibly would have killed some of them, because Mollies right now are very strong. I believe they do 70 damage on a tick. So, you know, you get 2 ticks of that and you're not having a good time anymore. You're no longer wanting to play due process. It's 140 damage. You know, essentially even just getting one bit by a Molly turns you into a defender that takes you down very, very aggressively and really loses a lot of that health advantage. BTG here marking out lots of wall bangs again, talking about charm of kill house or the wall bangs. Flogel's looking to play this very defensively. I'm assuming are Molly spots, unless they are really wanting to commit 6 barbs to this, which would be surprising. But you have to remember, it is match point for them. But if they lose this round, it goes 6-5, and BTG has a chance to tie it. We talked about Flogels and their history of playing long games. 93 rounds played, and just adding to that here. This is much more in line with what we were expecting from a Flogel BTG game. Very long. And yeah, I think that's 6 barbs they're wanting to do. Oh no, BTG's not going to have fun with this.
Oh god, that does not sound fun. But yeah, I mean, kind of what expected. We had a tech issue, obviously, and that was actually planned. If people weren't aware, so that BTG and Flogel could have their long game. This is kind of what we needed to happen. So 6-1, we had to pull out all the emergency brakes and say, whoa, 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 you can't be going to bed already, Flogel. You got a match. You got to play for the full 12 rounds the whole way. And obviously, we've had some replays come on in, but now it is, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it's 6-4. Still match point, as we said before, for Flogels, but they might find this one a little bit more difficult. Kuko giving away their position early on here, and there's a lot of pressure going towards them. Has to blow that molly to try and get out of the position. Kuko continues to put the pressure on and almost gets some shot into Billboard there, but a good crouch does mean they are still alive.
Absolutely. Boss Jr. with the auto shotty, though. That will be very scary as BTG makes their way backstage.
Kuko trying to hold the angle. Billboard just pushes on through. The flash is too much. Can Tiger Man come up big? No. Sox manages to neutralize them too. And now it's 3 versus 5. Some HEs going on in to try and clear some of that utility, but it doesn't look like they were properly ready for this angle. Boss Jr. just waiting in position. Good Molly means that Ned is going to get on through and still takes down Ghetto. Really should not have gotten away with that. And now they know where Boss Jr. is. And with Flogel going down, Boss Jr. is going to have to come up big. Has the auto shot. He might be able to find it. Gets the first. Can they find something more? They take down another one out there, and Sox will finish them off now. 6-5. BTG might just be on a comeback. They just need one round, either side, to make this a tie or that win.
Absolutely, either side. And I think also to switch it back, our map view over here, 4 barbs down here, unfortunately placed when this was the real point of attack for BTG here. And, you know, expertly avoiding that. And as we see, Flogel circling it out like, man, what is that single barb doing there? I would agree with that. That seems kind of strange. Personally, would have much rather seen a 3-on-3 barb split, probably. That nade took out both barbs, very well placed from BTG there. A little deep, so it was sure to hit the center of both barbs if they wanted to. And that, I think, is really that barb what won them the round. If they were stuck in that barb, Auto Shotty could have easily equalized that very fast. In addition to that, I think just unfortunate timing. Ghetto getting Ned, I think it was Ned sneaking in there, getting Ghetto, just man, shouldn't have been allowed to get away with that, like you said. Uh, really unfortunate. Flogels, though, on the wire. We're 6-5 now. This is match point. Man, this is
Yeah.
scary. Flogels wanting to secure it up here in the game. And again, here we are back to this wonderful title blood map. For this one I want to talk about actually is over here. This is a new piece of a tile that I have seen more and more frequently lately, are these spilled oil barrels right here. And occasionally I have also seen those barrels filled with the toxic goo. I don't know if you take damage from it. I don't want to say anything, but I have seen that occasionally. This is new. This is exciting. I can't wait to see what else they decide to do with these tile sets and what more we can expect. From here, I'm really expectant of Flogel making big use of this box and that sort of high ground play that we saw. Because also, if I remember correctly, if you're a parkour master, you can actually, these doors on No Man's Land are generally open. So essentially what you could do is hop from here onto there and play on the roof of No Man's Land too, which creates some really dynamic defense spots as well. Essentially equalizing this height difference, but also giving you a different angle, unexpected angle on some of the highway spots, as BTG looking to draw out a fan play, copying Flogels in that sense. And with Flogel, I don't see any of the barbs here that we talked about last time coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see. I'm happy that there's no barbs, at least in the positions we saw them. They felt particularly relevant. A lot invested in that previous round to no avail. Might be the bane, however, of Flogels. They have to be kind of careful about this, and they're not working with as much utility as they once were. I believe 2 flares on Kuko and 1 on Boss Jr. 2 mollies on Flogel in a perfect position to deny that push in from Fan and really route the potential push. Flogel is absolutely ready for that. Molly goes on in with those smokes going down. Is ready to molly it again. No push from BTG. They knew that that molly was coming. I mean, you had to, right?
And another one making those smokes useless. I also want to point out in the corner, Taiga Man hiding as the rest of his team gets caught and Billboard finds Flogel.
Flogel pushing out a little bit too wide, and there's another smoke to try and hold that angle. Shots ring out, but nothing yet. Boss Jr. trying and control this, but shots go on, but no one going down. Sox is even going to push up and maybe try and deny some sort of office. Billboard comes up big when they need them to. 3 versus 5. Can we see the clutch come on out here? Wallbangs into No Man's Land right now, but it's hard to properly deny that. 42%, and there's still 55 seconds on the clock. So much to work with. Oh my God, it's 1 versus 4. Can Kuko clutch it out again? This is going to be ever so difficult, and it doesn't even get a chance. That's 6-6 coming on through, and that is a tie game coming out here at the very final game of this series. Impressive play, honestly, from BTG to be able to bring that one back.
Yeah, so absolutely, and you know, great classic Flogel fashion, pardon me, going 6-6. We do have to wrap this up. We do have another match on deck. Momentum versus SPG. Really can't wait to see. Flogel played so well here, but BTG doing such a great job at securing the tie here. It is Team Momentum, our other EU DPL team, versus SPG next. So we're really excited to see that, as Flogels has done a good start for the EU teams today. Also, don't forget, we have the DreamHack Open coming up next week, and DPL will be taking a break, but we'll be back the next week after that. We will be casting that here, and I can't wait for it. Rock, any closing thoughts?
Well, let's go EU. Really hope Momentum picked this one up, and very well played to both teams. But Team Flogel coming out on top tonight. I really do feel like that 6-1 scoreline really does get me excited.